This is Smithy.tv.
What's going on, Kevin? It's been a while, actually.
Yeah, what year is this?
It's 1993. We went back in time. So I should apologize. For Kevin, actually, because Kevin, he tried to enhance his performance for the show, and what happened?
I failed the wellness test of the podcast world, and henceforth was suspended for 30 days for my first offense.
So that's why you haven't been here. For
that's why I've been AWOL.
And unfortunately, I was in a match with Ryback and Sheamus, and I was put out of action for over a month.
Yeah.
So that is to explain why we haven't done a show in a while, guys. So
just concussions everywhere.
Yeah, concussions. Flyback, though, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, so thanks for watching or listening, and welcome back, guys. Avoid Sheamus and Ryback at all costs if you can, and don't do steroids.
Yeah, pretty much. Or cocaine.
Cocaine. My cocaine.
So, just right off the bat, in case you'd forgotten after the immense amount of time that we've been away, we are Vintage Podcast. I am at Kevin Herron.
The Lindsay Lewis.
Yes.
Vintage Podcast.
At Vintage Podcast as well, if you want to go on the old Twitter. So, because we've been gone for so long, and the WWE is crazy right now, they've had 17 pay-per-views.
It was, it might have been only 15, but it's been a couple.
It's been a wild ride.
So we're not gonna do a usual match by match breakdown. We figured we got a lot of content to cover up. And we're gonna try to keep recording a couple new shows off topics, like just random favorite matches and other stuff like that. We're gonna do some fun stuff.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a couple little highlights of things that have happened in the last say month or so. And then we'll just kind of give some thoughts on some of the big events that happened, and then
So there's been some pay-per-views.
Yes.
We the main ones I think we haven't got to, but we had Battleground, and then we had a little snooze, and then we woke up, and then Elimination Chamber happened. First ever Chamber thing match and all that exciting times. And then we might have actually talked about Battleground. That's how long it's been. I don't know how concussed I am from Ryback. So we might have actually talked about it because I realized Elimination Chamber, I think we predicted who would win those tag team title matches. Yeah. Which we're going to get to those tag titles in a second because I'm mad right now. I'm mad as hell. And then it led to Money in the Bank. And you know what? And then WWE did something crazy. They're taking a few weeks off until Battleground. So, but there's a pay-per-view in the next few days, or actually when you listen to this, it'll already be prepared.
It's
Tokyo.
Sort of, I guess, like akin to their Elimination Chamber thing, where it's a network exclusive. So it's
$11.99 Canada. I'm waiting on that.
It's kind of a pay-per-view, kind of like an event or whatever.
But, so what do you think of stuff like that? Like, because these are special attractions and events, because these are stuff that before we would never get to see. They would just happen. So in a way, it gives you the opportunity. If you have them, you pay the $9.99, or it's every. You know what? And have you noticed every month since for the last 6 months? If you're a new subscriber, it's a free month. So I think that's their new thing now. Pretty much. Which should aggravate the people who are already paying.
Who have been paying from the get-go. I don't know. I like the idea of things like the Japan trip being televised, because that's something they haven't really done a whole lot. Like I know they've gone and done Japan tours and like European tours and stuff like that. And sometimes you get a Raw from England or whatever. But the Japan shows typically like they happen. They make like a big thing, and it's never televised. So you hear these stories about these great matches happening that unless you're there, no one's seen it.
Sounds wonderful, but I can't.
So I think it's kind of neat to have access from the network to show what happens at these big events overseas. That being said, when you get things like an Elimination Chamber, which is just like kind of just a common pay-per-view they've had over the past couple of years, and then just sort of rebranding it by saying, "Ooh, it's it's in a new month."
Yeah.
And it's
that was legitimately. It was that, and you get it. You get 2 pay-per-views this month. That was their big. I think it was Battleground and that. So it's like that was their big sell. It's like Elimination Chamber is a different month, and it's 2 pay-per-views this month for free. So it's a good fight, and I get that, and
it's good. A lot of the pay-per-views, since they're 3.5 to 4 hours long, so they're just slightly longer than a Raw.
Yeah, and the Raws have been feeling long lately. I gotta be honest with you. like I think like a lot of people will be like the ratings are like the week that Brock came back was good ratings, and then the last two have gone down. And people are gonna like, oh, it's Seth Rollins. Like, I don't think you can blame Rollins for these ratings. It's the summer months. You had like the basketball was just ending, hockey was just ending. You got a lot of stuff going on, and it's summer seasons, you know. And the Raws have been kind of stale, and there's a new Mr. Money in the Bank, and I'm not saying he's a ratings killer, but some of his segments do terrible. Yeah.
Well, and also I think wrestling fans are they're tired, like because they have 2 hours of SmackDown, 3 hours of Raw.
I watched 1 hour SmackDown only because there's an Ottawa and I had the channel, but like so I don't know about SmackDown.
I mean that's just like a weekly televised thing, just 6 hours right off the bat.
Yeah.
And then you throw in pay-per-views like every 2 weeks. It's a lot of content to digest, and that's not including like the Tough Enoughs or like the Total Divas or any of the other like shows that they're throwing that are not like.
Now you said Tough Enough, and one of the hosts of that show, the post show, is the Miz. Is this new look? Is this the Miz right here? You're all tan and you got the hair slicked up. What is this?
Oh dear.
Kevin the Miz Heron.
Yeah.
Heron back?
Yeah. No, it's the hair. I realized that I'm not 20 anymore and don't have the same hairline as I once did.
It also said the same at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, it's everywhere, but it's just it grows in weird, and it was just like I didn't get through that awkward stage. So I just said like, you know what, I'll just slick it back. I'll go Phil Brooks, and then just shave the sides.
But you tan yourself, so now you're like the Miz.
Well, also I drive for a living. Pulling back the curtain a little bit here. So about 50%, like this side of my body is tan,
the other half,
and this side is still like pale and Dutch. So
I think that should be like a wrestler, like they actually get him to tan, like, and then he's a half man, half beast or something.
Isn't that what Roddy Piper did for his match with Bad News Brown, where he painted himself half black? It was really super offensive.
But again, that's the time where it's like Roddy's more like he was controversial. So I'm just gonna quickly talk about these events, but not like match by match. But I will say that most of them were 3-card events, where it's just like it was the 2 elimination chamber matches and the 2 elimination chamber matches, the title match, and Cena versus Kevin Owens. Yeah. They also had a match at Money in the Bank, and same with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. So even though it's been a lot of like content, it's been some good stuff. It's just like, but it's one of those. It could have backfired on them at the same time when you're so tired of it. These events were great, but then these Raws have been so much of a nuisance to get through.
Yeah, well, it's not terrible content, but just going back to my point, like it's so much of it that it becomes harder to digest, I guess. Like there's so much going on and so much like time devoted to seemingly nothing, because like there's very little in the way of advancing of storylines or anything like that, as far as I can tell. I mean, like Cena the last like since WrestleMania, actually since before WrestleMania, he's had 3 or 4 month feuds where he's just has or like working towards getting the U.S. title, and then getting the and then just like having one major opponent that entire time. I mean, like for 3 or 4 months it was Rusev. For the rest of the time it's been Kevin Owens.
Yeah, I mean they had like the few weeks where it's like they're waiting to probably do Kevin Owens, and they had like the Cesaros and like the Nevilles, the man storylines forgot. Guys like that. So jokes aside, like that guy, where is his storyline? Because he's really talented. So are the Lucha Dragons and guys like that. But with so little storylines, at a certain point, I'm kind of like, I need some reason to care.
And then like you get exactly like things like Neville. Like Neville came in, he hasn't really said much of anything. Like I mean, you get the sense he's a good guy or whatever, like a face, and like just based on how he carries himself in the ring. But like really, he hasn't.
Who is he other than the guy who just like has agility like crazy?
Yeah, he's
awesome,
got a.
But what else do I know about you? Like, tell me why you're fighting.
He's got a good physique and he can do flippy shit.
And like, does he not want a title? Like at Money in the Bank he does it, and like it was between him and Sheamus. Which first off, I predicted Sheamus was going to win that match, but at the same time, I want it to be so wrong. Even Roman Reigns would have been better.
Yeah.
But like, because Sheamus is. I think he's a very talented guy, and he can be okay when he's a good heel. But it's just like I don't. I think it's the wrong thought process by like Hunter or whoever's booking this stuff like as his friend rather than like going like I thought you give it to someone like Neville, have him lose it, or you give it to someone like Bray Wyatt, you know, or even Roman. Those are great guys right away besides Sheamus. There was everybody in that. Kofi would have been great. Had New Day won, because even if they lost, it would have been an amazing moment. Like New Day couldn't do it with the briefcase. The crowd even erupted for it in a negative but a good way. Yeah. So I thought New Day winning that would have been the best. But Sheamus was my most predicted winner of that match, but also I was hoping would not happen. Yeah. So that's another so stuff like that hasn't really gone anywhere on Raws. Yeah. Neville's, we have all this stuff.
Yeah. And like you said, Lucha Dragons, they're just kind of gone again. It's the curse of the Sin Cara mask, I guess. And Kalisto, poor Kalisto is just kind of
because I never watched NXT and like Kevin has, and he mentioned those people, and I finally saw them on Raw when they both debuted, Kalisto and Neville, and those matches were the first one or two where we're like, wow, these guys are amazing, and if you get a little bit of storyline, it would have been great. But then it was kind of like, well, there's a match, but it's kind of like that throwaway tag match or the throwaway Neville match, you know?
Yeah, and it's just something to throw in the card. It's like a Divas match now. Like it hasn't meant anything for a little while, and it becomes so boring to watch after a while. Like I find myself now like in Raw, like I'll watch the first hour and a half, we watch 2 hours.
Occasionally we'll either like send a text or we'll do the Facebook chat or we try to tweet too. So check us when during Raw we try to do tweets and all that, and we try to have some fun with it. But usually by like 10 or so, like Kevin's like, "See ya, man." Like this is over.
Because and it's just it's also, it goes on for so long. It's 3 hours, goes on till 11.
And you've seen Money in the Bank, Elimination Chamber, these NXT stuff and all that. Yeah. So what are the stuff that, like, because we're trying to do a fun little sum-up show really quickly, but is there any, like, the pros or cons in the last few weeks? Would you agree that the Kevin Owens, the Cena, like, double bill has been pretty solid?
I think it's been pretty good, yeah. I like the way they have been working together. I think they complement each other really well. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that, when Cena's calling him a rookie and calling him, like, junior and stuff like that, and, he's throwing things back in his face, like, I've been wrestling longer than you. And, it's things like that really make, like, my, inner Mark kind of smile. And just sort of, it's like, oh, it's, I followed the indies for a bit. Like, I knew who Kevin Steen was and whatnot. So it was really kind of interesting to, like, knowing that backstory and where he came from, like, to have them acknowledge that was kind of cool. And they don't directly say, like, oh, yeah, I was in ROH, back when you were in OVW and anything like that. But, like, it's suggested, and, like, people who know appreciate it. And, like, I don't know, I thought that was a pretty nice little nod to...
they had some good back and forth, like, promos, and, like, their two matches, like, the first one was good and the second one was even better. And I get people were debating whether Cena should have won or lost that second match. And I think they did. I think they, with what they had, and to continue it, they did the best option. Yeah. And neither guys look weak. You gotta admit that. Neither is what look weak.
See, the thing is that they always have to have a. It's either
odds overcome.
Yeah, it's either like like if they do like a 3-match program. One person will win 2, and then finally the last one.
Yeah, like his stuff with Bray Wyatt, or even Jericho over Bray Wyatt. All these ones, these storylines seem to have 3 to 4 pay-per-view storylines, and like the good guy will win one, or the bad guy will win. Like Dean Ambrose got killed this last year. Like his last 2 matches have been really good. Yeah. But he had this great match with Seth. He didn't win. He won the title, but didn't. Yeah. And then they had a really solid. I get some people people either really loved this ladder match because it was like a 45-minute match. Yeah. Or they found it tiring. I actually liked it, but loved it by the end. But I get why people didn't, because it's a little slow. It's not your usual fan base. But the next night or two, he's losing to like Kane again, and so it's just like, and he's helping Roman, and so it's just like, I don't know what they know what to do with him. But like, so why not have him win Money in the Bank? That's another guy could have won it rather than face this match. Like, so just like, it's interesting stuff's happening, but there's not a whole lot of like feels like structure. And so we're getting these Cena versus Kevin Owens, which are great matches. But if we keep going to one time too many, you're going to either make Cena Kevin Owens together to kind of just look like
it's going to be another Cena Randy Orton, because like they work really well together, but they've also had like 100 and some odd matches.
Yeah. And they because to Randy Orton and John Cena, they did all these matches, and they're like, we're gonna do this Iron Man match. This is gonna be the last one.
Yeah.
And then I think they took a year off, and then since then they've had a lot of matches.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And and that's the thing. I mean, like, it seems like they pick a direction and they focus really intently. And they did that with Roman Reigns for a little while, when they were really trying to get him like to be, completely over by the time WrestleMania came around, and so that people would be cheering him and he could overcome
to be fair to them, the injury didn't help, and they kept on it. Like, they're like, we're still going to keep on this path. I just think it's the same kind of with the Sheamus stuff. I don't think sometimes they have to bite their tongue and go like, you know what, this isn't the right thing to do.
Yeah, but
and they're course correcting him. It's just like they shouldn't have had to course correct him. It should have been like
But the point being is when they're focusing on one storyline and one person, it is to the detriment of some of the other arguably more deserving people on the roster. So when you get somebody like right now, they're pushing the Kevin Owens and Cena story. So the championship stuff, like the WWE Championship, World Heavyweight Championship, whatever.
The WWE World Heavyweight Championship, I think, is the full title.
Yeah. So that's kind of taking like a back seat, and like it's still pronounced on the show, and like they're still like technically the main event for Raws and things like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, the big focus is on those big matches. So there hasn't been a whole lot of importance put onto the big title matches, while it's been people like Roman Reigns, even Dean Ambrose, things like that. So until Brock comes back for the next pay-per-view, which I'm sure is going to be, there's going to be a lot more focus put on that. But I mean, look what happened with people like Bray Wyatt now. They have no story for him.
He faced The Undertaker. One man built a feud going into it. He loses, and you're like, okay, he's going to go away for a bit. This is good. He can come back and go on a special attraction winning spree, and then he beats Ryback. Ryback, the next pay-per-view, becomes Intercontinental Champion. Ryback's doing okay. What's Bray doing? He went away and he came back to face Roman, which is...
Yeah, he went to go have a tea party.
Yeah, with his daughter. And then now it's like, if he loses to Roman, he's in the same situation Dean Ambrose is, where it's just like, they have a guy who's hot, but they have to put someone else over more in their head. Yeah. So at the cost of somebody, it's another guy going, well, Dean Ambrose, it takes him a while to get back, and the fans still like him, but at a certain point... It's all for nothing, and it could be the same for Bray Wyatt.
Yeah. Now, I'm assuming you watched the previous Raw that had just aired.
I'm caught up.
Yeah. So there was I guess right after the Roman Reigns match, there was a little vignette thing that happened where Bray comes up on the screen. He's having his tea party with presumably Roman Reigns' daughter. Roman Reigns runs to the back and sees like this room with all these creepy pictures on the wall. I just think it's hilarious and would like to point out that somebody on WWE payroll got paid to cut out the eyes and mouth of Roman Reigns. Hundreds of pictures of Roman Reigns. That is just for some reason really funny to me.
And to me, like before WrestleMania, around that Royal Rumble WrestleMania season, fans online were doing that.
Yeah.
So you could have just got their pictures and be like, just stick that on the wall.
I'm pretty sure what happened to that is, like, somewhere along the line, Vince saw the movie, like, 1 hour photo, and was just like, let's make it creepy, damn it.
And then 12 years later, he's like, we'll do it now. We'll do it now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm tweeting during the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and the first match is the actual Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Smart way to book the show. And then your pay-per-view titled Money in the Bank, by the end of the first or second match, the pay-per-view could end because it's Money in the Bank's over.
Yeah.
So anyways, Sheamus wins, and I put out a tweet going like, I don't think it can get worse than Sheamus winning Money in the Bank. Like, cause
Sheamus wins, we all lose.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Like my chant, everyone goes, "You look stupid." I think they should go, "Please not Sheamus," because then it really says it's like, no, we're not just saying, "Hey, great look for a villain." We're saying, "I don't really want him," and they're a ratings killer. But so that night I said,
a career killer apparently.
He's shortened some careers, and some of them hopefully they come back. But my thing I'm trying to get to here is I thought that night couldn't get any worse, and then it happened. The worst thing that WWE has done all year, maybe Sting losing at WrestleMania was probably the worst. And where is Sting? Or we're going to save him to lose at WrestleMania next year? We'll see.
Poor Sting.
Maybe he's growing his hair back. No, but no, the worst thing this year besides Sting losing at WrestleMania for no reason to Triple H happened that night.
See, I almost forgot about it, and it was just that traumatic to me that my body instinctively blocked it out, just as I guess like a self-preservation mechanism. And I believe what you're referring to is
oh no, we're referring to the same thing. I can tell. It's a dark day, you know.
It's certainly no longer a new day.
It's not a new day. Sheamus won Money in the Bank. How could it get worse? New Day is no longer the tag team champions. New Day? No, like, I legitimately went, like, you know, you're supposed to be surprised when people win, and I like primetime players, I should say that, folks. Darren and Titus. I wanted to call him Primetime Titus, but which maybe they should.
Much better name, actually. Primetime Titus.
I'm gonna tweet him. He's like blocked. No, I like those guys, and they like he won the Dad Award and like.
Do you think he does like the little like thing when he blocks people?
Blocked. I hope he does. I hope he takes vines of it. Like,
yeah.
Or sorry, what was Touts for WWE? That went nowhere fast. Hopefully, like the Sheamus push that's happening right now. No, but Titus, the primetime players are great, and they're kind of in that where they good guys, bad guys, and the fans are like, well, the New Day is bad guys, so they're good guys. But New Day was on such a hot streak. It was honestly my favorite stuff of the Raw and like all this stuff. They were great, and I thought the only way New Day losing was good is if they joined the Authority as the prime people there, because then like something bigger is going to happen and they'll get a celebration. But it was just underwhelming. It was like we need a championship, so we'll have them lose. It was, and the reaction for primetime is okay, but New Day was so alive, and I thought they should have a 4-year title run, and it was a dark day, like I said. And Sheamus won that night too, so it was too much. Too much in one night for one hard to handle.
Yeah, they.
And so and that's the hard part about that is Kevin Owens and John Cena had this great match.
Yeah.
And I liked it. And Seth and Dean had an okay match, but it was still like I was like the win was it was like when Sting lost at WrestleMania that
just made no sense. Okay, so I've just been sitting here just stewing over this for a few minutes, and like I don't know what exactly the WWE creative were thinking, because they took a
hot angle or
they took the worst gimmick that they could have possibly given 3 people and were able to turn it into something positive and something that people
positivity.
Like something that people were able to get behind and start cheering. And then they worked so well that they were able to give them the belt, and they had a bunch of just natural heat, and like their charisma and like backstage segments were really entertaining to watch. So even when they weren't in the ring, when they were doing like the interviews and things like that, they were really interesting to watch. They were drinking milk from champagne glasses. They were having like just really entertaining.
They were doing that slow, like pretending to be positive, but they're clearly going like vilified.
Oh, and like they're doing villainous stuff and whatever, but it was funny. It was like sort of like a heel Santino kind of character. So it was great. And
they started making fun of the cities. It was great.
Yeah.
They were killing it.
It was
Xavier
amazing.
Woods was getting spotlight. Kofi, who's never like been one on the mic, he's getting little stuff. And like Kofi's really enjoying like the claps now. He's like, if you watch his claps before, it's just like this, but now he's like doing this like he's having so much fun with it. So they're having so much fun. They're doing it. Big E's like a preacher, and he's killing it.
Oh, it's amazing. And
my example of why, because this was right before they lost the titles, is Kofi's in the Money in the Bank match. Kofi is about to win it. They come down, they beat up the guys, and they try to get him up. The crowd's reaction was so alive there. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I thought Kofi should have won that match. And if he wasn't, keep the titles on them and say he can claim we got the title belt. But it's just like in a night, 2 wrongs have happened, and Cena and Kevin Owens, you're only so good that my disdain for this booking.
But my biggest problem with the whole thing is the primetime players. Up to this point. Oh my God! Up to this point, they
lost millions of dollars in New Day.
Yeah, they were essentially being like having these I guess I don't even know what you call them. They were like little backstage segments where they were making fun of every other team on like in the tag team division, which, as far as I knew, was not. That was a very like kind of villainous thing to do. They're just being kind of mean to everyone, no matter if it was a face team, a heel team, whatever. Like they came dressed as the Ascension. They came making fun of, and they had
like the New Age Outlaws. They were making fun of.
They had like an awful Twitter war, and like with the New Day and all that, and it's just like they weren't. But the biggest thing I take offense to it is they weren't funny. They were just really painful to watch. And so like they're good in the ring, they're great in the ring. I hate watching them talk. It's the worst thing ever. But when you had people that could work in the ring, and then you had like people that had natural charisma and like owned their characters and like just really, really, really embraced.
When you strike lightning like that, you have to go with it. Like it's like what they wanted to happen with Roman and Sheamus all these years, but it happened with these three guys who, like, I get there's not a lot of focus on the tag team title, so why would you go against this?
Yeah. It's like
I think it was just a short-term, like, short-sighted at WWE.
Yeah.
They go like, we need a title change. We don't care. Like, it can't be Cena and it can't be like the world heavyweight. So it's gonna be this.
It really seems like they're working week by week. They're not doing any kind of like long-term planning.
And maybe they win again the titles at Battleground, and maybe then they go on a longer run. They realize they correct this wrong, because let's be honest, I do think this win was because Titus won the Dad Award, and they thought we'd get a little bit more press because like he's Batista's friend, and you have the people congratulate him. So WWE likes press, and that was one of the maybe we'll see, and it clearly hasn't really helped. Like the crowd's like when he does the ooh and like they do the millions of dollars, they get a little bit of chance. Yeah. They're not terrible in the ring. They're likable guys, but at the same time, you can sense the dead air. Whereas like New Day, when they were tag team champs and they do whatever it takes to get to the town and survive, they got so much heat. And it was great.
Oh, it was amazing.
And it wasn't like X-Pac heat. It was like they're doing their job heat.
Mm-hmm. Not Vicky heat.
Now, can I say, what about this as a storyline? What if David Otunga comes back and basically sues WWE to saying give New Day the titles back? He kind of joins it because that guy is in WWE somewhere. I thought, why not use him? And that would be a good little thing, and it gets these guys to fight the power of positivity, even though it's BS, and I love it.
Yeah. I think Sasha Banks from NXT said on Twitter she wanted to join the New Day, which I thought was would be pretty good. Them having like a female member
and like go for the Divas title.
Yeah, and like just I want them to be like a full on stable. I want them to bring in Sasha Banks. I want David Otunga to be there for legal counsel, and then I want the.
Oh, this is we're doing better right now.
Oh my God! And then I want the epitome of positivity, and more specifically, power. And when I say power, I mean people power.
Yeah.
I want Mr. John Laurinaitis to come back and join up with the New Day. There's no rules saying that they all have to be
positive people power.
Yeah, like just
POP pop, you know.
Yeah, I want.
Crowd's popping for POP.
I want him just to come in his little scooter and be like, "I'm joining the New Day. This is the best day of my life."
And if they ever need New Day to be good guys, they beat up Laurinaitis and they're good guys right away. It's great.
And I mean, that's a great way for them to shed that
and there was, if you take New Day serious, like because they were starting to, they were getting tough and all that, and they had great matches with Kid, who's hopefully he feels he does okay in the next coming months with his recovery. But
yeah, he's out for a while.
They should have had them be with the authority stuff because they were starting to help him. That stuff right away makes them legit. They're great on the mic. They're funny. They can go serious. I think they can correct it wrong at Battleground, and then hopefully they can make stuff right. And also, at this Tokyo pay-per-view, one of the co-main events is actually...
Oh, my God, yes.
This is the big match, and this is the match why I want to watch this thing is. It's actually New Day's own Kofi Kingston versus a man who only gets a couple matches a year, Brock Lesnar, the Beast.
Oh,
and had New Day actually won all these matches and gone to this, they could have hyped this match up huge. Because Kofi can be like... This is my title shot, and like I didn't win Money in the Bank and all, but I'm gonna beat the Beast. But because they did this, it becomes another squash. We all know it's coming. But they could have built this to something huge, I thought, with this actual match because they're keeping to it. I think.
Oh yeah,
New Day.
I think just by virtue of the fact that it's such a ridiculous pairing, it's something that I want to watch. I know it's not going to be anything spectacular. It's going to be a squash. It's going to be.
And maybe he beats all three guys up. You know, why not? It's
maybe.
great.
Yeah, but
WWE's already trying to.
Who knows? And maybe I don't know. Maybe they'll throw Big Show in the mix somehow because who knows what he's doing.
Well, Big Show's facing. I think it's Ryback, Big Show, and Miz. Your boy Miz at the hair and the tan.
I'm just exposed to the elements. Yeah. That's all it is.
I'm just working for a living, and you're calling me the Miz. So is the Miz, though.
Yeah.
Hoorah! So.
Where's Damien Sandow, by the way?
Him and Axelmania.
Oh, Axelmania.
They got over. So just like the New Day, they got over. So they got to go.
Yeah.
They got to go.
They're running.
and
not as wild.
Yeah. Maybe a pre-show or they didn't even win that pre-show match against the Extension. Yeah. That's when you knew it was over, and I, you know what I mean. That if you didn't get a hint from that, they got the Zack Ryder. They got Zack Ryder. So speaking of Tough Enough, before we wrap the show up, if you had to cut a promo to say why you would be the best person on Tough Enough, and same with me, why would you say to the people watching right now? What would your promo be?
My promo?
Yeah, right now, if you had 30 seconds on the spot, if you had to say why you are tough enough to face Kevin Owens, John Cena, and the New Day.
My God, sir, you are throwing me into the spotlight. Well, I would just point at my, I don't know, I'm trying to convert to inches here. Maybe 10-inch pythons, and yeah, and then maybe flex my glutes, and say like, hey boys, come and get it. And then obviously they will be sickened with my odd advances. And then at this point, I would be using the element of surprise. Maybe doing one of those fancy maneuvers where, like, you know, you kneel behind somebody.
Oh, and then they
and then somebody gets pushed over.
And that's what's good about New Day. You can do those with those guys.
So and then I could do, like, you know, a schoolboy roll up in that, and then like maybe throw some like gold dust mind games in that bitch, you know.
Oh, he swore too. You're very PG-13 for this
I got. I'm going attitude era here.
Now.
What about you?
This is why I'm gonna win Tough Enough. This is why. See, I'm already in Tough Enough zone.
You've been thinking about this the entire time.
I haven't. I realized
he sprung this on me, and I had to go all weird and like, like sort of weird, schoolhouse rapey apparently. So.
I hope that's your Twitter handle for like your
at Kevin Heron, Schoolhouse Rapey.
He would still be better than the guy who won the last Tough Enough, because where's that guy? Probably in jail.
I don't even know who he is.
No, actually, wasn't his name Silent Rage or something like that? Adam or something?
Oh, who knows?
But no, so anyways, the reason why I would win Tough Enough is I would be the first ever manager to win. That's right. I may not be the toughest or the biggest, but I can speak my way to the title. I would originally start as a manager. I would eventually challenge John Cena to I'd get like a Mark Henry type to be my guy, and I would somehow win this title belt. But yeah, I would cut promo after promo. I would make from the cities. I'd probably bring a dictionary, and I would start reading words that I'd be like the audience doesn't know, making fun of their city, but like going like a bath, which Cincinnati doesn't know anything about, stuff like that. Yeah. So basically, I think I look like a nice guy, but I'll be a bad guy. And you want me to kiss babies and shake hands? That's not happening. I'm making fun of cities, and I'm taking out your champion John Cena. New Day, member number 4, right here.
Do you need anybody?
Hashtag I am tough enough.
Do you need anybody who's schoolboy rapey?
Yeah. Originally they thought I was gonna be your manager, but then they're like, schoolboy rapey is not in right now.
No, he's not allowed to be within 30 feet of most people.
What's El Torito? They're like, keep him away from.
Yeah, that's how I'm gonna win the title. I'm just gonna like freak people out to the point where there's like weird restraining orders. And they have to be like at a certain distance from me. So I'll just chase them around until they get tired and drop the title.
Even better. You remember when Seth Rollins started doing all those matches where he won by no shows?
Yeah.
No one wants to fight you, so you win by a count of 10 because no one comes down into the ring. So you win by forfeit.
And just like the first 10 rows of people are just empty.
And you challenged John Cena to the U.S. Invitational, and because he's such kid-friendly, he's like, I can't do this to the title, take it.
Yeah. I'll just keep walking towards him until he's out of the building, and then I'll just win by forfeit.
Hashtag tough enough.
Yeah.
We already have your next season of Tough Enough. It's great.
It's foolproof.
If we were to title these episodes, we would call this like
Schoolboy Rapey.
Which is great. It might get over bigger than the Primetime Players.
Can we please just title this one Schoolboy Rapey? Episode 5? Schoolboy Rapey.
See, this is why we're laughing, because New Day stuff is so dark.
Yeah.
We needed to go there, folks. And I'm sure you had to too.
So to recap, there's been Kevin Owens, John Cena had a thing. The Divas are around.
Still.
New Day is
heartbroken.
Is in our hearts.
But there's still power and positivity.
Yeah, and I don't know. Big Show's doing something. And
Flyback versus Miz versus Big Show.
Yeah, Ryback's eating stuff, and Daniel Bryan's still injured.
He's eating up people's lifespan.
Yeah. Oh, and Sheamus still sucks. We're all caught up, right?
We're all caught up, and watch out for us.
And Schoolboy Rapey.
Schoolboy Rapey. So this is the worst. This is gonna be the worst segue, but I thought we should mention it.
I just wanted to get all the jokes out before we
obviously.
talk about this. Yeah.
Obviously, as a fan of wrestling, actually one of our friends, our friend Neil, was like messaging me. Like I was at work and I saw a message one day that he was sending something, and before I could respond to it, he then told me that reported that Dusty Rhodes had passed away.
Yeah.
And it he was a very inspirational and like a big part of the WWE just in the last few years, just behind the bookings and all that. Yeah. For me, he was the guy. He was one of the voices of WCW Saturday Night and all that, and like all those pay-per-views. So he had so much fun, and like I saw him in a couple Coliseum videos, and like his theme song was great. And he has 2 solid like offsprings in the ring. Anything to say about Dusty?
Yeah, I was a big fan of the American Dream, and not necessarily. I was aware of him when he was an announcer. Like
Randy
Orton. I liked his run in WCW, and I never really got a chance to see him wrestle too much. It was always kind of like little clips and stuff they showed along the years. But the biggest thing that I found about him that I really respected was his mentorship to the younger talent, and how he was willing to really work with people and just help people hone their craft. And that was evident pretty much anywhere he went.
It was evident, unfortunately, after his passing.
Yeah.
Because, you could see, all those young people.
Just the outpouring of people,
the way they talked about him. It's like, it sounded like he was the difference between them being there or not,
Yeah, so, it really seemed like he was, for a lot of people in I guess, pro wrestling as a business, he was very much like a father figure that just helped a lot of people and just really guided them into making positive changes in their career. And I think there's not enough people like that really are willing to take the time and energy to devote to helping other people and helping other people succeed. So with that, I want to just basically just say, man was a legend. There's not going to be another American Dream. Just be thankful for the time that he spent, and
if you look at a positive spin, you didn't think years this would happen, but his last few years, in the WWE and on Earth, was with he got to travel and work with his sons. That's a cool thing, and just seeing their report.
And
a lot to him, probably.
And I know there's a lot of issues with Dustin, or I guess Goldust, and him just having a heated, I guess, sort of past. So hearing that they had reconciled and had a fairly good relationship prior to this happening, like that, that's something I think that they would both be very grateful for. So it just in closing, anyone who was directly affected, obviously as just fans, it's very sad, and it's obviously something that is going to affect everyone who knew who he was, but to the people that it directly affects, and being people that knew him and worked with him and had intimate relationships with him and his family, our thoughts and whatnot go out to everyone involved, and just the Vintage Podcast will always remember the American Dream.
Thank you for and you get to leave a legacy, which is great, and with his, when they do come back, whether they come back as Goldust and Stardust, or they can Dustin's character in WCW was very close to Dusty Rhodes himself, so you could see him in that way, and so I think there's always going to be a legacy left on by him, not just by those two guys, but by the NXT guys and all that. So you left a legacy, and and that's the thing, is not just for Dusty, but in general, it's just if people can do something great and have just 1,000 people or a couple people be inspired, you did something really, really solid, So for years of wrestling stuff, thank you, Dusty. So I guess unfortunately it's sad to end on notes like that, but I'm curious to see where we move forward with the WWE, the summer of WWE. Battleground's the next pay-per-view, which we will get into in a couple weeks.
Yeah, there are things are happening. Storylines are going nowhere.
And storylines are going nowhere, and somewhere in the back with the briefcase is Sheamus waiting to screw everything up. And by that I mean the writers and Triple H. Brock's back. I don't know. I would lightly say I don't think he should win the match at Battleground. That's just me. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so I am at the Lindsay Lewis. Sorry, we're gonna.
I was just gonna say I want Brock to beat Seth Rollins at some point and Sheamus to come down and just Brock just laugh at him and just destroy him. Yeah. I was playing that through in my head and it made me giggle. Anyway, I'm sorry.
The career of Sheamus makes me not giggle but just disappointed. Again, he's a talented guy. I think he should be like U.S. champ. Yeah, he's like Jack Swagger. Like I can't get enough behind him, and also he's had so many chances, and it's not there. And like I think ratings and stuff show it, and just the feeling you got when he won the briefcase. You're like anyone but him. That's a great way to end the show. Power, positivity. New Day, we can get those titles back. Schoolboy Rapey here.
Yeah, Schoolboy Rapey.
You can catch him on Twitter where?
At Kevin Heron.
Feel free to
Schoolboy Rapey.
Feel free to send him the restraining orders via tweets. Or you can contact me, his manager / not friend, because
/ legal counsel.
Yeah, legal counsel. I'm his David Otunga or Clarence Mason at the Lindsay Lewis. You guys have been listening and watching
at Vintage Podcast.
Vintage Podcast. We thank you for watching and listening. We're gonna record a show very soon where we're just gonna have a little fun and ask some random stuff. So send us questions if you got anything. But yeah, we're gonna have some fun, and we'll also in the coming weeks we will talk the summer WWE, including Battleground and what we see coming forward, and hopefully New Day will be newly second time tag team champs. Thanks for listening and watching, guys. See you next time.